Wayne Swan's revealed new savings in the federal budget that he says would allow him to keep his promise of a surplus next financial year. But this year's budget is headed in the opposite direction, almost doubling the deficit forecast in May to $37 billion, and prompting the opposition to question whether the huge turnaround needed to achieve a surplus is realistic. Caught in the middle, stay-at-home mums, civil servants and executives expecting new tax breaks to come in next year. They'll all now help to achieve the surplus target. Political correspondent Tom Iggulden has more from Canberra.
Treasury's wheeled out its latest surplus forecast, while Wayne Swan's pushing the publicity cart.
We are showcasing to the world the strong economic fundamentals of the Australian economy.
And it worked. The forecast surplus has shrunk from $3.5 billion to a wafer-thin $1.5 billion, but that was enough for global ratings agency Fitch to upgrade Australia's creditworthiness.
For the first time in history, we've now got the three global rating agencies giving us their gold-plated rating for our public finances and the performance of our economy.
If our overall fiscal situation remains somewhat stronger, that has far more to do with Peter Costello and John Howard than it does with Julia Gillard and Wayne Swan.
And the opposition still casting doubts on whether even the reduced surplus will be achieved next financial year, given this year's budget deficit has blown out to almost double that forecast in May.
They are expecting us to believe that they are going to have a $38 billion turnaround in the budget in 12 months.
It's a modest surplus, but it's one that's achievable given the growth forecast that we've got.
That growth forecast has been chipped back from 4% to 3.25%, but that's still a strong bounce back from this year's natural disaster-induced slow pace. Added to the resulting rise in government income are $11 billion in savings revealed today. Tax breaks for foreign executives will be wound back. There will be increased visa charges for foreign visitors and a $400 cut to the baby bonus.
Let's not forget that the baby bonus is there to help stay-at-home mums. And I think this is a government which has never had much respect for the stay-at-home mums of Australia.
But the biggest saving is another round of public service cuts worth $1.5 billion.
The government's strong expectation is that agencies will continue to meet the efficiency dividend without resorting to forced redundancies.
But the unions are predicting 3,000 voluntary redundancies and reduced Centrelink and border control services.
It is ridiculous for government to argue that you can cut $1.5 billion and not affect frontline services and jobs.
The bigger picture here is the attainment of the surplus. It's a quest now bordering on the religious for the government, and it's hoping to convert doubtful voters, as it's done with the ratings agencies.
If you like, we've taken the middle path between those who say we don't need a surplus and those who say that we should take a really big axe to spending.
But as last night's OECD report made clear, the storm in Europe is getting worse and could strike at the surplus forecast in Canberra.
If Europe doesn't blow up, it is achievable. It genuinely is, and Australia's economy will be better than people realise. If Europe blows, nobody will care or should care about a surplus.
It is a common sense proposition that if the global outlook continues to deteriorate and deteriorates further, it will make it much harder.
The opposition's promised $70 billion in spending cuts of its own, about 7 times more than today's announcement from the government. So a further decline in Europe puts Tony Abbott and co in a difficult situation too.
There is now no buffer against international economic problems because of the policies and the incompetence of this government.
An argument we can expect to hear more of if things do get worse on the continent. Tom Iggulden, Late Line.